What up, y'all? Forward Fabian, man. I'm back again with a video. I'm doing a reaction to MrBallen, the most terrifying first date in history, man. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit notification bells, follow me on all my socials. Fort Worth Fabian. I'm only on Instagram and X, so follow me on those platforms. Subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, man, and let me know what you guys want to see, man. Shoot me a DM on Instagram if you have recommended content. Shoot me a DM on Instagram. It's the best way to see me, to get me to see it, but give me a follow first. So with that being said, man, let's get into the video.
We're here in a spooky field with a car on fire and a full moon and a weird house over the far side.
Yeah.
Have you got any stories that fit this environment?
I do. I have a really good one from out in Utah in the 1970s. This is actually one of the earliest stories that I covered. Actually, this is one of the first ones. So we don't have the names of the people involved. So I'm going to call them a man and a woman, but you know, this is every bit their story. We just don't use their names. I think they actually didn't want their names used. That's what I recall. So back in the 1970s, there was this young guy and young girl who were the main characters of the story. And I think they met in college, and they go out on this first date. They go to a restaurant, a diner, and they got along fine, but there wasn't any magic. It was, you know, kind of a nothing date that they both kind of instinctively knew that this was likely not going to go anywhere beyond this first date. There's no chemistry. However, they both kind of intuitively noticed it. And the guy, towards the end of the date, when it's kind of like, okay, time to wrap things up now, he decided to take a chance. He figured, what's the worst that can happen? I already can tell this isn't going anywhere. And he says to his date, he says, you know, do you want to do something kind of unexpected? Do you want to like go do something kind of crazy with me right now? And the girl was actually like kind of taken aback. She's like, okay, what do you want to do? And he's like, well, I oftentimes go for walks out in Provo Canyon, this beautiful canyon that's nearby. It's got this amazing trail. It brings you out to this overlook with this incredible view of the stars. Like, it's a really cool spot. And I go there, you know, later in the day, and no one's there, and it's pretty cool. But it's, you know, we're hiking in the woods in the middle of the night. You know what I mean? And she's like, okay.
That's where it ends, huh?
If you're a YouTuber and you want to save hours managing your library, you need to, buddy. Come check out how you can edit your end screens, cards, and descriptions of all of your videos with just the click of a button. Go now.
Okay, let's do it. You know, it's like suddenly the date went from going nowhere to it's kind of exciting. And so now there's chemistry. That's like they're going into the unknown together. And so they quickly leave the diner, they hop in his car, and it's a short drive over to the parking lot where Provo Canyon is. You know, he pulls into the spot, there's nobody there, they get out, and now there really is. They're getting along, they're kind of laughing, telling jokes, they're holding hands, and they walk right from the parking lot onto this paved trail that goes right into the forest. And so it's nighttime, you know, just a very, this is a well.
That goes to show, man, if you're doing a date, plan the date accordingly. Like the setting, the vibe, you know, the timing, things of that sort play into the chemistry. Honestly, when they went to the canyon, it seemed like they was hitting it off. Because it was like spontaneous, you know, it was exciting. But dudes at a diner originally trying to get dinner. Boring.
Used trail. This is not some goat trail in the middle of nowhere. This is a well-used trail. And so they start walking into the forest, and after a while, and this is something they would say after the fact, but we know this is what was happening. As they were walking, the feel, the vibe of the night really changed as soon as they got into the woods. You know, they're excited, the states suddenly become exciting, and then they get into the forest. They're on the trail, they're holding hands, they're walking, and both of them began feeling this really intense dread as they're walking in. But they don't know each other. This is their first date. They don't have the background of a relationship to begin touching on something that's hard to point out. You know, neither of them turned to the other and said, I feel uncomfortable. Instead, they just kept their mouth shut and thought, okay, I'll just keep on going. So they stopped talking. They begin walking faster out of this kind of nervous energy they have now. They're holding hands, and they're just walking through this trail because they're trying to get to this overlook, basically get it out of the way and come on back. But it's all unspoken. They haven't said, boy, this is anxious. They're feeling that way.
Dun, dun,
and so they're walking on this trail, again, surrounded by trees. There's nobody else out there, and it's pretty dark. They don't have a flashlight. And as they're basically speed walking at this point in silence. At some point, they hear a rustling sound kind of off to the side. And at the exact same time, the guy steps on something that he described as being soft. And he stepped on it, and he has no idea what he's stepping on. No clue. It's something soft. And he's heard this rustling sound, and they're feeling anxious. And he immediately stops because he stepped on something. And the girl, she's sensing, okay, what's going on here? And without any communication, they turned and walked out. Didn't even look down. They have no idea what's going on. It was like they both knew, let's get the fuck out of here. I don't know what's going on out here. And they practically ran back to their car, totally safe. They get in their car. And now that they're in the safety of their car, they kind of begin laughing about it. Like, yeah, I wonder what that was. I stepped on something out there. I don't know. Something moving around. Maybe there's a big animal. I don't know. But that was it. It was just, that was the whole date. And actually, they wound up getting married because this date was like this kind of amazing thing where they bonded over the fear of being in this forest.
Well, damn.
And so they get married. And 10 years later, they're at home and the TV is on. It's tuned to like a Dateline type of show, like a true crime show. And neither of them are really watching. But an interview comes on, and it's a journalist talking to a death row inmate. It's a very famous death row inmate. And he's very near his execution date. And he's giving this kind of full-blown interview about, you know, what he did. And at some point, the journalist asks him, was there ever a time that you almost got caught before you got caught? And the serial killer is like, yeah, there was a time. I was out in Provo Canyon and I just killed a girl and I was trying to dispose of her body.
Look at his
full
face,
her across
bruh.
the trail. And I just killed a girl and I was trying to dispose.
Look at this. Look at bro face. The hell? Buddy shook right now. He said, ain't no way possible.
Of her body. And I dragged her across the trail. And I just killed a girl and I was trying to dispose of her body. And I dragged her across the trail. And this young couple comes turning around the corner and they stepped on the body. And I was maybe a foot away holding her, looking up at them in the darkness, waiting to see what they were going to do. But for some reason, the couple didn't look down. They didn't look around. They just turned and left. And so that was it. That was the time I almost got caught. And so it turned out the guy, they had come in contact with Ted Bundy, like one of the most infamous serial killers of all time, who effectively said, had he investigated, he would have had to kill the couple. It's great. So they got their first date was running into Ted Bundy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And actually, if you're interested, there's several other close calls with Ted Bundy that if you Google close calls with Ted Bundy, he came close to killing people several times.
That's wild, bruh. That's wild. I want to say there was another story with Ted Bundy to where... No. This was John Wayne Gacy. Never mind. There was a story about, like, similar to this along the lines of where somebody got away that he had kidnapped or planned to kill. And it was basically he had put someone in his vehicle or given them a ride. And at a point in time during the ride, that person just felt like it was a bad situation to be in. Things were getting sketchy. And while they were driving, he jumped out of the car. He opened the door. He jumped out of the vehicle and ran off. And according to John Wayne Gacy, when he was kind of giving the rendition of the story, that situation, like, allowed him to kind of proof his whole methods, like all of his method. Excuse me. It allowed him to proof his methods in terms of kidnapping and, you know, murdering these boys. So it allowed him to readjust his strategy. Basically, he was taking the knobs. He took the knob off of the car door after this situation to where if he had somebody in his car, they had no way to get out because there was no handle. There was no door handle is what I meant to say. So it's crazy, bro. Close encounters. These folks encountered Ted Bundy, stepped on a body, and just intuition told him to get out of there. And they married 10 years later.
And it's I don't have those.
The VW Beetle. There was something with the VW Beetle.
I forget what it was. Unfortunately, I don't remember all of the anecdotes, but there's quite a few that are that one is the most startling because it's so like visceral what happened. But the others were, this girl who almost went on a date with Ted Bundy, but then got a bad feeling about it and canceled. And it like the day later he gets arrested for being Ted Bundy. Stuff like, or one person who Ted Bundy randomly befriended this woman, and I think they were dating for a while, and he was very close with her child, and it was, I mean, he's like in their family while he's killing other people at the same time. And then he just broke up with her and moved on. Like he didn't do anything to her or her family while he's actively killing all these women. But for some reason, he just had this normal family, happy, wholesome relationship with this girl for like a year. And she would find out after he was executed that she was actively dating a serial killer. So it's just, Ted Bundy had all these weird interactions.
That's crazy when you think about the psychology of a serial killer, right? Because then you want to know, why did he not do nothing to, he's dating a girl, he's familiar with her family. He doesn't want to hurt or harm her or her family. For what reasoning? While outside of that, you're killing countless women. But why? You know what I mean? That type of psychology like doesn't make sense to me. A mass murderer, you would think they just mass murder, period. Doesn't matter who you are, we're going to kill you. But then it's like they turn it off and on when they really feel like it.
With people that have been documented, but that one to me is the most startling.
In other news, this episode is brought to you by Momentous. If you've been struggling...
That's crazy, bruh. The most terrifying first date in history. And then they ended up falling in love. Man, let me know y'all's thoughts on that one in the comment section below, man. Peace, love, prosperity. We'll catch y'all on the next one. We out.